Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a very interesting one. It's a video on how I made this beautiful gown that I'm wearing right here. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, ensure to keep on watching and let's dive right into the video. Trust me to always deliver a very detailed tutorial for you all. We'll start with drafting the pattern. The measurement needed to make this dress will be on the screen. Please take your accurate or your client's accurate measurement. So this is the front pattern here, and that's the shoulder line. And this is our center front and our side front. I'll measure from the shoulder line to the bust line, which is 10.5 inches that I marked there, and I'll make it in a straight line. So mind you, this dress I'm making, you can decide to make it to have a waistline or not to have a waistline joining. So for the upper shoulder, that's the shoulder line, I divided my shoulder by 2 to get what I measured there. And I'm coming down by 1.5 inch for our shoulder slant. I'll go ahead to do our armhole or arm sign calculation, which is your bust divided by 6 plus 1 inches that I'm putting there. So if you're following my videos a lot, you should know these calculations by now. So after ruling that line, that becomes our chest line. I'm just going to impute the shoulder line or the shoulder measurement we had on that chest line and make it in a straight line like this. So I'll divide what I have there into 2, coming by zero point 0.5 inch, and then mark our armhole curve. Then I'll also come in by our brown bust measurement, which is 36 divided by 4, which gave us what I marked there before curving our armhole curve. So for the neckline, I'm just going to come in by 3 inches, and then I'm just going to slant the shoulder like this. So this dress is just going to have a side bust dart. So on the waistline, I'm just going to come in by the waist measurement, which is 28 divided by 4, which gave us 7 inches. That's what I marked there. I'm going to connect it just the way I am doing. And if you're making your dress without the waistline joining, do the same thing. So I came in by bust span measurement, I marked it there, and I'm coming down from the bust line by 1.5 inch and connect it just the way I did. So to determine the neckline for this dress, I'm just going to come in from the bust measurement by 4 inches, or you just mark 5 inches from the center front like this. So it all varies depending on how you want your neckline shape to be like. So just follow what suits you best. So for this one, I use 4 inches from the bust measurement, and I'm slanting it just this way that I'm doing. So after this, our front is ready. Let's move to the back. So to draft our back pattern, I'm just going to mark our shoulder width, which is 14 divided by 2, which gave us 7 inches, come down by 1 inch for the back shoulder slant. Remember, we used 1.5 inch for the front shoulder slant, but for the back we're using 1 inch. And I'm marking down our chest line just like I did for the front. This is the line that I'm ruling here, which is our chest line. And I'm just going to also come in from the center back for the on the chest line and mark our shoulder width measurement, which is 7, and connect it back to the shoulder to create our armhole line. On the chest line, I'll be imputing our round bust measurement, which is 36 divided by 4, which gave us 9 inch. I'll divide what I have on that line by 2, coming by zero point 0.5 inch, and then make our armhole curve. So at this point, you might be wondering why the back waistline looks shorter than the front waistline. This is because of the side dart that we made for the front, that 1.5 inch. I removed it from the back. So from the center back, I came in by 3 inches neckline and connect the shoulder slant like so. For the back neckline, this is 3 inches and this is 3 inches on the chest line. I'm just going to mark it and then connect it to the slanted shoulder just like this. And we have gotten our back neckline. We're going to impute our round waist measurement, which is 28 divided by 4, which gave 7 inches. And I'm going to connect it back to the chest line. And after this, our back pattern is almost ready. But on the zip area, we're going to make in a zip slant there. I'll come in from the center back by zero point 0.5 inch and connect it back to the chest line that we have there. And for more tightening at the back, I'll come up by zero point 0.5 inch and connect it back to the waistline like this. So I'll go ahead now to add the necessary sewing allowance. I'm adding 1.5 inch as my sewing allowance at the side. And I'll also go ahead to label it. These are center back, our side back for this pattern. So it's time to cut it out. I'm just going to cut the back first before cutting the front. So I cut out this upper side because of the net we are using for that side. It's called the yoke for the back. And I'm just labeling it like this. To cut the front, I'm going to close down the bust dart and cut it out before opening the bust dart. So this is the front yoke and I'm untaping the bust dart now. I'm matching it with the front yoke. So I'll go ahead to label these patterns. And we are done drafting our pattern. It's time to transfer to fabric. This is a beautiful fabric I'm going to be using to make this dress. Is a Mikado fuchsia pink fabric and I'm going to be pairing it up with this lace looking so beautiful. And I'll go ahead to cut out the down part. So for the down part, I'm just going to drop the waistline measurement, which is 18 inches for the front, and then I'll mark the length. That's the full length for this gown, which is 37 inches in length, but I added hemming allowance. And for the extra space I have there, it's just going to serve as our zip allowance. So on the waistline, I'm coming in from the center front by the waist measurement and I'm adding 2-inch sewing allowance. And after this, I'll go ahead and drop 9 inches from the waistline for to get our hip measurement. That's the 9 inches there, and I'm marking our hip measurements and I'm going to add extra. Remember, this cloth is not fitted around the hip, so it has this extra hip shape or style for it. So I'm adding extra 2 to 3 inches for this, and to the hem of the dress I'm still coming in using the hip measurements we have, and I'm going to add extra allowance to it, 3 to 4 inches to it, just like making an A shape at the down part. So this is just what I'm doing right here. So for the back zipper allowance on the waistline, I'm coming out by 1 inch, and on the hip line, I'm coming out by that 2 inch that I have there. And then on the hem of the dress for the back, I'm just using the same 2 inch and connect it just like I did. After cutting, I'll come on the front waistline and make a 1/2 inch cutout there. And this is it here, right here. So I'm transferring the upper bodice pattern to fabric and I added the necessary allowance around it, 1/2 inch at the upper side and the down part, and then 1.5 inch by the sides. I'll go ahead now to cut them out. After cutting them like this, I went on to cut out facing for the front and also for the back. The facing measures 5 to 6 inch in length. So it's time to start sewing. I'm just going to unpin the front right now and I'll mark out the side dart, ensuring where I'm going to sew and then notch it right here. So after doing that, I will then open it up and bring in the facing for the front and sew it. But for this part, please be patient because I made a little correction on it. So I'm just going to mark the bust point there to ensure that the bust dart stops at the bust point. So I'm just remeasuring everything to make sure that I'm not missing out at any point. So I'm marking the bust point there. That's where the side back dart is going to stop. So after this, I'm just going to open up the dress at this point and then go ahead to put in the bust dart first before going ahead to turn with the facing. But before turning with our facing, we needed to put the yoke, that's the front yoke, before using our facing to turn the upper side of the front. But at this point, I realized that later when I must have turned it and also top stitch it. So while sewing yours, use the same method I'm using for the back and use it the same for the front. Yes. So I made the correction at the back. That's why I'm saying this. So I open up the back like this, and this is the facing for it. So I realized at this point that, man, I fucked up. So guys, I'm just going to keep the back aside and bring in the yoke first. We are going to attach the yoke to the dress before using the facing to turn the neckline. So I'll cut out the sleeve first before cutting out the yoke. So for the sleeve, I'm just going to come in by 2 inches, come down by 4 inches as folded using your round sleeve measurement. So after making that, I'm just going to impute the sleeve measurements there. I'll also mark my bicep, and after that I'll then connect it just like I'm doing. From the sleeve cap, I'll come down by 12 or 13 inches and mark there. Then I'm just going to impute the elbow measurements there. So I'll impute our elbow measurement and then connect it like so. I'll also mark from the sleeve cap to the wrist and then mark it out, mark the round wrist like the way I am doing. Then depending on how you want the down part to come out, you can make it wider or smaller. So I'm marking the wrist there, and I didn't want it to be too wide, so I reduced it a little. If you want it wider, you can just go a line from the wrist, and that is it. So I'll go ahead now to cut out. I'll keep the sleeve aside and cut out the yoke. So I'm just going to fold the remaining lace fabric like this and place our yoke pattern, adding half-inch allowance around the yoke, and I'll cut this out. And after cutting, I'll bring in the sleeve and notch that center, that's the sleeve cap. I'll notch it there to serve as the center of the sleeve. So to sew the yoke, I'm just going to unpin it like this. I'll open it like this. Mind you, I folded the lace in 4 places. So we had 2 pieces for one side and 2 pieces for the other side. And I will sew along there using the half-inch allowance I gave. And after sewing it there, for the back, I'll do the same thing and sew around the half-inch allowance that I gave. So I'll use half-inch to sew just on the neckline for the front and back, and this is it here. When I was done sewing, I went on to also iron it flat. I'll bring in the back now, and I'm just going to place it center back facing each other just like this. To determine where the yoke will sit at the back, I'll bring in our pattern paper to check it. So I'm just going to place it like so as it was, and then bring in my measuring tape to measure what I have there to where the yoke started, and I have about 3 inches there. So I will measure 3 inches plus the 1 inch zip allowance I put for the back, so it became 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark that 4 inches there, and then that will be where the yoke will start. I'm just going to place it like so and go ahead to sew it using the facing as well to turn the neckline just like this. I'm repeating what I explained earlier on this part, and I'll go ahead to sew it down first before using the facing to turn it. And guys, this is the final look when I was done sewing the back yoke, and I'll put it aside and bring in the front. So for the front part, since we've already turned the neckline with the facing, we are going to attach the front yoke by top stitching it from the inside, just from the under, not inside. So I'm just going to place it like so and top stitch it there. But before that, I'll bring in the pattern for the front and just check where the front yoke is meant to sit. So I'll just check it there and then measure what I have there. I believe it should be 5 inches, and I'm just going to mark it 5 inches from the center front on our fabric and then place the yoke just like I did here. Ensure to iron as well. So over to the skirt part, I'll bring in the skirt part, which is this. I cut out linen or a fabric that will serve as linen for the down. So I'm just going to place it the right side facing each other. I didn't want this shiny part to be at the outer part as linen. So I just wanted to hide it. That's why I placed it like so. And I'm going to stitch it there and then go ahead to do the same thing for the back. I'll stitch only the hem, and this is it here when I was done stitching. So we need to attach the upper bodies for the front and back to the lower bodies for the front and back. So I'm just bringing the back lower bodies and I'm just going to bring the upper bodies for the back, and I'm going to place it like so, ensuring that the zip side is facing each other or ensuring that they are both on the right side. So I had a little excess on the waistline for the downside, so I'm just going to place it like this and sew it. Please remember what I did here. I want to achieve an inseam finishing, so I'll first of all place it this way, like the way I'm doing right here, ensuring the zip side is matching with each other. So I'll place it this way and then use the linen and flip it over to this side and place it like this. I'll go ahead to use 1/2 inch and join it there, and I'll show you what it looks like. So guys, this is the final look when I was done sewing and ironing it. So I had a little excess at the side, so I did the same thing for the front and back, and this is how beautiful it looks in and out. So I'm just going to cut out that excess I have by the sides because I really do not need it. So I'll be trimming off like 1.5 inch away to cut off the excess I have there. So it really do not affect my measurement. Yeah, because the upper bodies already have the measurement I need. So I'm just going to put the zip for the back, and then this is it here when I was done putting the zip for the back. So you can decide to interlock or weave the rough edges at this point before joining the front and the back side by side. So I'm placing it like this, the right side facing each other like this, and I'm going to first of all join the shoulder. So I'll be using the back to turn the front shoulder using 1/2 inch, just the way I am doing it. I will do the same thing for this other side using 1/2 inch allowance as my stitching allowance. So I'll use the back like this and turn it like this and then sew there, and this is it here when I was done doing that. So before joining this dress side by side, I like to join my sleeve. So I'll go ahead now to attach the sleeve. Remember that center part, that sleeve cap that we notched. So the sleeve cap that we notched is the one that will meet this shoulder joining that we have here. So I'm going to ensure that that notched part meet the shoulder joining and sew to this other side and then to this other side, and do the same thing for this sleeve. And this is it here when I was done stitching all of that, and then it's time for us to join our dress side to side and we are all done. So I'll be using 1/2 inch allowance to join the sleeve at the down part, and then use my accurate sleeve measurement, my round sleeve measurement, to join it. Then I'll use my round bodice measurement to join this. So how I normally join my dresses, I measure what I have there and then I remove the extra allowance and divide it on each side. So you can go ahead to use the method you normally use to join your dress and join it, but the main thing is to get the accurate thing. So this is a dress here when I was done joining it. I went on to as well iron the side, and this is how beautiful it came out to be. So I added extra 2 inch to my hip measurement. Remember the dress is not so fitted. I added extra 2 to 1.5 inch to my hip measurement. So I'll be attaching ropes at the neck part there that I'm showing you, two ropes that measures about 30 inches in length, and that is all for this dress. So don't be a stranger here. Ensure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below for any question you have. I'll be in the comment section to answer you in details. Don't also forget to share this video to your soulmate that needs it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.